Now, if you want to be a man who's admired, respected, and trusted, it's important you watch your words, because some things once said can't be taken back. That's why on today's video, we're going to break down 10 things you should never say to a woman. Whether you're dating, in a relationship, or engaging in conversation, some phrases can kill attraction, damage trust, or even worse, make you look insecure or emotionally immature. And this isn't about walking on eggshells. It's about speaking with clarity, confidence, and emotional intelligence. Now, if you're new here, welcome, Jeff, your Style O.G. On this channel, we discuss various men's lifestyle topics such as style, grooming, and dating. If any of all those topics interest you, I invite you to subscribe, tap the notification bell, and join us. And to my returning friends like Crown Cliff, salute. Now, first up on the list of 10 things you should never say to a woman, I highly recommend you drop this phrase from your vocabulary immediately. Don't go around saying, you always do this. The problem with this phrase, all you're doing is not addressing the moment. You're actually attacking her character, putting her on trial for every past mistake she's made and lumping it all into one blanket statement. And let me be the first one to tell you, that's not great communication. It's emotional corner cutting. It shuts her down, puts her on the defensive, and turns a disagreement into a battlefield. You don't want to do that. You see, real grown man talk involves dealing with the issue at hand, not recycling things from the past. So if you want to be heard, understood, and respected, strike you always do this from your communication rotation. And talk like a man who knows how to handle conflict with clarity, not chaos. Now, next up is a phrase I've often seen guys use to their detriment 9 out of 10 times. You want to make sure when you're having a conversation with your woman, you don't say, "You're too emotional." Why? Because it's dismissive, disrespectful, and it's emotionally and communication-wise lazy. What you're really saying to that woman in this moment, I don't really want to deal with what you feel. Let me be the first to tell you, that's not strength, that's avoidance. What you may soon come to realize, the emotions aren't the problem. How you handle them is. You see, in my opinion, a real man doesn't shame his woman for having emotions. What he does is he stays calm, listens, and responds with clarity. What you're actually showing your woman when you say you're being too emotional, you're not showing her logic, you're showing that you're emotionally unavailable. So what I need you to do is tighten up, lead with patience, and speak like the man you say you are. And saying that you're too emotional is a kissing cousin to this thing I also believe you should never say to your woman. Please don't say you're overreacting. This is another way to quickly get her to shut down and lose her. When you say you're overreacting, you're not solving the problem, you're actually dodging it. What you're actually telling her is that her emotions aren't valid and her feelings don't really matter to you. And to me, that's not grown man communication. What it does is shows that you're judging the reaction instead of what I believe you should do. Listen and try to figure out the reason behind it. And here's the thing I want you to understand. You may not feel the same way that she does, but it doesn't mean you're right and she's wrong, or vice versa. Real communication is about listening, not labeling. So drop the dismissiveness. And what you want to do instead, start responding with empathy instead of responding with your ego. Now, next up on the list of 10 things you should never say to a woman, we're building this brick by brick. Our next one ties closely to the last one. You definitely want to make sure you don't tell your woman, calm down. Trust me, the moment you tell your woman to calm down, you've already lost the room. It's not calming, it's actually condescending. What you're actually telling her is that her feelings are a problem. You aren't de-escalating the situation, you're adding fuel to the fire. A grown man needs to understand that a real relationship is not about control, it's about understanding. What I suggest you do, instead of saying calm down, try asking what's the real issue. If you stay present and stay patient, watch how differently she responds to you. Because let me tell you a little secret. When you tell the woman to calm down, what it really reveals is that you haven't. Now let me keep it all the way real with you. Saying that's why you're single is one of the most insecure, petty things a man can say to a woman, hands down. When you pull that one out, you're not winning the argument, you're showing you already lost. And guess what? If you're in a situation where you tell a woman that's why you're single, guess what? You're single too. It's not clever, it's not confident, it's actually bitter and childish. A real man doesn't attack a woman's relationship status to feel superior. That's cornball stuff. Either you communicate with maturity or keep it moving. Saying that doesn't make her respect you. It actually makes you look weak. So do yourself a favor. Drop the insults and lead with class. and speak like a man who doesn't need to tear someone down to feel better about himself. Now, next up on the list of 10 things you should never say to a woman, this one I get. It may seem harmless, but it actually might be doing some damage. Make sure you don't tell your woman, you should smile more. You may not realize it that this comes off all wrong. You might be thinking, I'm giving her a compliment. No, Playboy, what you're actually trying to do is control how she looks or feels. You may not realize it, but what you're actually telling her is that your face should make me comfortable. That's not cool. You see, a grown man respects a woman's space, her mood, and her presence without feeling like he needs to dictate it to her. What if she's not in the mood to smile? What if she's had a bad day? What if she's in control over how she expresses herself? She's not here to perform for you. Instead of trying to tell her what to do, how about you respect her presence in the moment? You see, real confidence lets people be. If you want good energy, lead by example and see how easily it comes back to you. Now, next up, I have one of the most juvenile things you can say during a discussion with a woman. Please don't say whatever. Now, I know this might seem like an easy way to end a discussion, and what it is really communicating is, I don't care. And trust me, that hits harder than you might think. It's dismissive, it's disrespectful, and it communicates that you've emotionally checked out. You see, a true gentleman doesn't shut down conversation. He leans into it with maturity and clarity. I need you to understand, when you say whatever, it's not a solution. It's actually a lazy escape route. It might end the conversation in a moment, but it actually is chipping away at your connection. So if you want to be respected, trusted, and heard, speak with purpose, not with a shrug. What I'm trying to get you to do is to handle conflict like a grown man, not a boy avoiding responsibility. Now, next up, please, whatever you do, don't say this phrase. Please don't say, you're just like my ex. If you want one thing that kills trust and sparks drama right away, say you're just like my ex. Trust me. You see right there? That's a comparison nobody wants. What you're doing is bringing old baggage into a new situation. What it actually may be telling her is that you're judging her from someone else's past mistakes, and you haven't moved on or healed. A grown man knows to have effective communication, he needs to deal with this woman in this moment with a fresh perspective. What you want to do in this new situation, you want to build, not project. It's very important that you leave the past behind, stop weaponizing old wounds, and treat her like the woman she is, not a rerun of your last situation. Now, next up, we have one of the most stereotypical and disrespectful things a man has ever said to a woman. Please make sure you don't ask her, are you on your period? Now, I get it. Some guys out there, when they ask, are you on your period, they think they're being clever or calling out a mood swing. But what you're really doing is invalidating her feelings. It's a huge problem if you're reducing her experience to her biology. What you're doing is blaming her emotions on her hormones instead of actually listening. What you want to do is make sure you're engaging in a conversation with empathy, not sarcasm. When you ask, are you on your period, that shuts the conversation down and makes her feel dismissed and disrespected. And it makes her feel unheard. If you want trust, respect, and a real connection with your lady, whatever you do, don't ask if she's on her period. Handle your conversation with class, not condescension. Now, next up, I have something that might seem a bit nuanced, but I need to break it all the way down to you. One thing you definitely don't want to say to a woman is that's why I don't open up to women. Now, what you might think is vulnerability is in actuality a deflection. What you're actually doing is blaming her for your emotional walls instead of owning up to your feelings like a grown man. When you say that's why I don't open up to women, you're actually punishing her for trying to understand. And you're using your past as a weapon instead of a lesson. A real man doesn't shut down emotionally and points fingers. He communicates with honesty, not guilt trips. I need you to understand, you don't build mutual trust by backing away. You build it by showing up. So stop blaming women for your emotional guardrails and your silence, and start speaking with strength and self-respect. Okay, so there you have it. 10 things I highly recommend you never say to women. Now, do me a favor, let me know in the conversation any phrases you believe the Style O.G family should strike from their vocabulary to have better connections with the fairest sex. And if you enjoyed this video and found it informative, I highly recommend you check out a recent video I did about all the things you should say to a woman. You can check it out right here.